What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Ben Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Much love to the entire LDBC and the basketball community. Don't miss basketball conversations every Friday night, 9 p.m. Central Time. Is where we discuss basketball-related topics, news, debates, and everything else relating to the world of basketball. You understand what I'm saying? We are at 659 subscribers. We're about 41 away from actually, what's a 41 away from the great 700. You understand what I'm saying? So, whatever you guys do, make sure to share the channel to your social media platforms. You know what I mean? And spread the word about the channel. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon to get all the latest notifications when I drop some videos and when I go on live. So, with that out the way, let's get down to business here. So, what I was pretty much thinking about throughout the entire documentary was the real villain of the entire documentary here, okay? Now, for so many years, I was led to believe that Jerry Krause was the main villain behind the breakup of the Chicago Bulls. And trust me, he still is. He still is. But what really began to crawl at me a lot is how it was what crawled at me the most was that is this. I did not look at Reinsdorf as like the main culprit of the breakup of the Bulls as much as I should. All right. And when Krause pretty much admitted that, that he wasn't going to be willing to pay the 10 remaining Bulls free agents after the 97-98 season, it really was like, oh, and to think we were rashing on Jerry Krause this entire time because the real villain of the entire breakup was Mr. Reinsdorf. All right. He was the guy that was said that basically gave the green light for Jerry Krause to say this was going to be Phil Jackson's final season as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. But then after the season concluded, still offered him the contract despite the looming circle around the free agents. Okay, one of them was Scottie Pippen. So we need to stop, putting all the heat on Jerry Krause, just only him, okay? Because the real heat belongs with Jerry Reinsdorf. He was one of the most cheapest owners in the NBA. Look how he's done to the Bulls after the Jordan era, okay? We only had one brief resurgence with Derrick Rose, but after Derrick Rose's knee blew out in the 2012 playoffs, it was pretty much over with, all right? And we have still yet to experience any championship glory or even a trip to the finals since that 98 season. And all of it could be traced on how Jerry Reinsdorf was basically led to the destruction of the Bulls because he pretty much admitted in the last episode that no, I was the one that basically broke up the team because I wasn't going to be willing to pay 10 remaining players that were going to be free agents because he felt that the team was going to be below their market value, which is absolute BS. Jerry Reinsdorf could have easily usurped Jerry Krause's authority, brought back Phil Jackson, and signed the 10 remaining free agents. Now, you would have had to at least fill in some of the key holes on the bench, all right? Because you couldn't, because that bench in that 97-98 year, with other than the exception of Rodman or Kukos that could come off the bench or Steve Kerr, all right? Um, Bill Wennington was very weak on the defensive end, all right? Dickie Simpkins was pretty much a token player at this particular point, all right? And you pretty much had only Scott Burrell off the bench, but he could be very inconsistent. But other than that, you had to have proven veterans or younger veterans, I should say, that basically were been proven at a particular point in their careers to really shore up that bench. Now, I don't know who would have been free agents at the time because again, this whole entire breakup came through while the 98-99 lockout was commencing itself. But to be honest with you, Jerry Reinsdorf would have keeping this team together if he weren't being cheap. That's just all comes down to it, okay? Now, no doubt in my mind that Jerry Krause gets the majority of the blame, but we need to put most of that heat on Reinsdorf's heels too. Because the fact is, if he would have just opened up his wallet book and kept those main core players, well, both Michael Jordan, and would have had to work something out with Scottie Pippen for him to stay, okay? And you know that Dennis Rodman, the thing with Rodman was is that even though that his value to the team was very much commendable and cannot be overstated, it cannot be overlooked, his act started to wear down on the team. So I don't know it would. I don't know if it would have been worth it to keep Rodman for another year because he was. If you guys watch the documentary, he was pretty much a loose cannon at this particular point, and he was doing outlandish things even when the finals was going on with the Jazz in '98. So I don't know about the Rodman scenario. I think they would have still kept him anyway, but had to put more of a little bit of a stricter restriction on him while giving him all the rope. All right. But no doubt that Jordan would accept another 1 year deal to win another championship. You know that Phil Jackson would have had no problem rejoining the team. But I commend Phil Jackson by just walking away after that season because he knew he didn't want to deal with another season of bickering and more tensions, confrontations with Jerry Krause. It would have had to require removing Jerry Krause as the general manager of the team and bringing somebody else in to try to keep the team together. You know what I mean? Now, as great as Jerry Krause was as an executive and general manager for putting that team together, the reason why a lot of people in the Reinsdorf organization say don't bring this guy in because he has a very eccentric way of dealing with people, and his attitude is going to rub off of people the wrong way. He ignored against all that to bring him in, and it resulted in 6 championships. But in the long run, it deteriorated a lot of the relationships within the organization, which involved Jerry Krause. You know what I mean? So if we're putting all that heat and blame on Jerry Krause, was deservedly so, okay, but most of it also has to go on Jerry Reinsdorf's feet because he is the owner. All right. You could have done everything you could to keep that team together and maybe go for one more championship. And then you could decide if we want to rebuild or maybe restructure the roster. All right. But by that time, I think, like I said, in the 99 portion of my video that I did a couple of days ago, I said that I think the Bulls would have won at least one more championship against the Spurs. But by the time it would be 2000, it would have been it because there was no way they were going to be Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant at their young peak at that time. You know what I mean? Because they were up and coming, and Kobe was coming for Michael Jordan. All right, and Shaq was playing at the best basketball of his career in '99, 2000. So I don't. So that would have been it for the Bulls, and if they would have met the Lakers in the finals, you know what I mean? It would have been great to see, a young Kobe versus a prime Michael Jordan. You know what I mean? But I don't think that would have ended up pretty good. I think the Lakers would have gotten them at least 40 games to 2 because I would give Michael at least 2 games out of that series. You know what I mean? Because I have so much respect for Michael. But beyond that, the bottom line is this: Jerry Reinsdorf was the owner. He could have done everything he could to sign all them players back, and they would have had no problem coming back just as long as you keep the remaining core players intact. That was the main issue in hand. And Michael pretty much said, listen, if Reinsdorf and Krause didn't even say that this was going to be the final season, they would have easily came back. But because they labeled that this was going to be the last dance, it really became significant to the fact that Phil Jackson pretty much said this season is the final season. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, we need to be more careful of how we put the hate on Jerry Krause, okay? And we need to put that more on Jerry Reinsdorf. That's just my 2 cents of the situation. You know what I mean? Because if we're putting all the heat on Krause, which deservedly so, all of it needs to go on Reinsdorf's feet. But tell me what you guys think in the comment section. Do you think that Jerry Reinsdorf deserves the majority of the blame for the breakup of the Bulls, or do you still want to put it on Jerry Krause's feet? But let me know what you guys think. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm going to continue to drop more videos on this. Peace.